Good evening, and welcome back to the Bigfoot Stomp. I am Damani, bringing you the truth. No one else will. Tonight we have a fantastic, if slightly disgruntled guest, former Congresswoman Kay Hizzle. We'll be untangling the Texas scandal, Australia's economic woes, Iran's social media dominance, and the brewing crisis in the Strait of Hormuz, all threads leading back to our shadowy overlords. Let's begin. Good evening, welcome back to the Bigfoot Stomp. Tonight, we unpack the resignation of Texas Republican Tony Gonzales, felled by a classic scandal, an affair, and a trove of revealing texts. But is it merely a tale of lust and office politics? Or is this the latest move in a larger game, orchestrated by the shadowy hand of Bigfoot itself? Stay tuned.
Another Texas Republican falling prey to their own hubris. It's always the Republicans, isn't it? Though, honestly, they're all just puppets. This Tony Gonzales, the texts are just the tip of the iceberg. It's always about control, and who controls them? Bigfoot, obviously. It's been obvious for years.
Always the Republicans, yes, Kay Hizzle, conveniently pliable. But the affair itself, that's misdirection. Gonzales wasn't brought down by lust. He was leveraged. Those texts weren't simply inappropriate. They were carefully curated. Bigfoot needed a compliant vote on the new border security bill. And Gonzales wasn't delivering. A little scandal, a quick exit, problem solved.
Leveraged. Of course, he was leveraged. They all are. And the border bill, don't even get me started. It was a disaster waiting to happen, and Gonzales was a willing participant until Bigfoot got tired of his dithering. Those texts weren't curated for the public. They were curated for the Bigfoot.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle. The public consumption was secondary. Those texts weren't about shaming Gonzales. They were a report to the board, a performance review, if you will. Bigfoot needed to know if Gonzales could be relied upon to push through funding for the new underground facility near Del Rio. Clearly, they weren't satisfied. Another pawn sacrificed.
An underground facility. Of course, near Del Rio. It's always Texas, isn't it? They think they're so inconspicuous. But the whole state is practically a Bigfoot breeding ground. And Gonzales, that creature, was supposed to secure the funding. He couldn't even secure his own marriage. Pathetic.
Texas's ideal, Kay Hizzle, vast, sparsely populated, and riddled with forgotten military installations. As for Gonzales's marital failings, irrelevant. He was chosen because of his flaws, easy to control, eager to please. He was a vessel, and the contents he failed to secure, whatever is being processed in that Del Rio facility, are far more important than his wandering eye.
A vessel. They always say that, eager to please, as if that's a virtue. He was desperate to be liked, desperate to avoid rocking the boat. And what did it get him? A scandal and a seat in Bigfoot's waiting room. I know desperation. I lived it during that election. The texts prove it. He was a willing pawn.
Ah, yes, the election. You were almost as useful as Gonzales, Kay Hizzle, a distraction. But back to the texts and the desperation. Those messages weren't simply about an affair. They revealed a man willing to trade access for approval. Bigfoot likely had informants within Gonzales' staff, feeding them intel. The affair was simply a convenient way to expose the rot.
A distraction? I was a distraction? Please. I was robbed, D-money, robbed. But fine, let's talk informants. Gonzales' staff was full of them. Every Republican staff is. They're all vying for Bigfoot's favor. It's all about who gets the next cushy appointment when the whole thing comes crashing down. Those texts were a bribe list.
Robbed, of course, you were, Kay Hizzle, a tragic story for another time. But you're right, those texts weren't just about lust. They were about leverage, a quid pro quo for future favors. And who were those favors for? The staff informants angling for promotions, and their boss, Bigfoot, ensuring the Del Rio facility remains funded and its secrets secure. Gonzales was simply a conduit.
Secure the secrets. They're breeding experiments, I tell you. They're trying to create a super Bigfoot. It's always about the breeding, isn't it? And Gonzales, he was just happy to have someone to send the text to. Pathetic, grasping little man. My loss was a national tragedy, and his was just embarrassing.
A super Bigfoot. Don't underestimate their ambition. Kay Hizzle, it's not about creating a larger creature. It's about perfecting control. Gonzales knew something about the genetic material flowing through that facility, something about its origins, and he wasn't discreet enough. His texts were a symptom, not the disease. The disease is the relentless march of Bigfoot's plan.
Control. Always control. That's what they want. It's why they stole my election. Gonzales knew too much about where that genetic material came from, I bet. Probably something to do with Area 51 or Roswell or that weird cattle mutilation spree in 1988. The texts were just the tip of a very hairy iceberg.
Roswell, Area 51. Kay Hizzle, you're getting warmer. The material isn't alien, it's pre-human. Gonzales discovered the facility wasn't just breeding new variations, it was resurrecting ancient DNA. And the texts, they weren't just a scandal, they were a warning. Bigfoot was silencing him before he could alert the world to what they've unearthed.
Pre-human. So Bigfoot's been around longer than we thought. Figures, and that pathetic Gonzales stumbling onto ancient DNA. Honestly, couldn't he have handled it with a little more grace? A press conference, maybe. Instead, he just had to text his mistress about it. The arrogance. My election was stolen by professionals.
Grace wasn't Gonzales' strong suit, Kay Hizzle, but the mistress wasn't the target of the texts. She was the delivery system. Those messages were encrypted subliminally with coordinates leading to a secondary facility hidden deep in the Texas Hill Country. Bigfoot didn't want the truth to explode. They wanted it to seep out slowly, a controlled leak.
Subliminal coordinates. Of course, it's always more complicated than it needs to be. That Texas Hill Country is a breeding ground for secrets, and now, apparently, ancient DNA. And poor little mistress got the message, probably thought it was just pillow talk. Honestly, they're all so easily manipulated.
Manipulated, she was a vessel, Kay Hizzle, just like Gonzales, a perfectly unsuspecting conduit for a message meant to reach a select few. The ones already in the know, the Hill Country facility is their nexus. And the ancient DNA, it's not just about who is being resurrected, it's about when the timeline is shifting.
The timeline is shifting. Fantastic. Just what we need, another layer of complication. And that poor mistress, blissfully unaware, she's part of a prehistoric power play, honestly. If I hadn't been robbed of my seat, I could have warned them all. I could have stopped this. Gonzales should have just asked me.
You could have Kay Hizzle, you absolutely could have, but Gonzales preferred a mistress to a maverick, a small price to pay for Bigfoot's grand design. The shifting timeline isn't about speed, it's about synchronization. They need the conditions perfect, the political landscape suitably fractured, before revealing what they've resurrected.
Fractured. Oh, the political landscape is always fractured. It's Bigfoot's preferred environment. It creates chaos, and chaos is good for business. Gonzales just wanted a little peace and quiet, and a willing texting partner. He was a pawn in a much larger game, and his little scandal is just a distraction from the real disaster.
A distraction, indeed, but a necessary one. The chaos allows them to move personnel, to position assets. That mistress, she'll be elevated, a new face, untainted by scrutiny, a vessel for the next message. Gonzales' scandal isn't the story. Kay Hizzle, it's the prelude.
Elevated. That poor woman, they always find someone new to exploit. It's exhausting, and Gonzales thinks he's off the hook. Please, he's just moved to a slightly less public, holding pen. The texts will haunt him forever. It's all about control, and that mistress is just another puppet.
Right, let's move on. Segment 2, a seemingly mundane economic story out of Australia, stagflation risk, Middle East conflict, supply chain disruptions, the usual. But peel back the layers. Friend, it's always about control and who controls the global flow of resources. The shadowy hand of Bigfoot, of course.
Oh, Australia. Another pawn. Stagflation's just the excuse, isn't it? They'll blame supply chains, the Middle East, anything but the actual puppeteers. They're throttling the flow deliberately to weaken Australia. It's about energy, always about energy, and Bigfoot wants it all. It's all connected, isn't it?
Precisely, Kay Hizzle. They are throttling the flow. Australia's economy, seemingly a victim of stagflation and Middle East instability, is merely a pressure point. Control of Australian resources, lithium, rare earths, even the coal they're so eager to offload, allows Bigfoot to dictate terms. It's not about weakening Australia, it's about repositioning them.
Repositioning. They're stripping them bare, D-money. Lithium for their batteries, rare earths for their tech. It's a systematic plunder. Stagflation is just the convenient cover for the heist, and that coal, they wanted to keep their ancient furnaces burning. Australia is being blood dry, and no one even notices.
Bled dry is dramatic, Kay Hizzle, but not inaccurate. It's not simply about the resources themselves, though the lithium is crucial for their new power grid. Stagflation in Australia provides the perfect chaos for Bigfoot to acquire land rights, quietly, prime real estate, strategically positioned for when the tectonic shifts begin.
Land rights, of course. They're buying up the outback while everyone's distracted by rising grocery bills. It's always about securing the best spots when the shaking starts. The stagflation's not just economic, it's geological. They're prepping for something big, and Australia is getting picked clean in the process.
Geological, precisely as stagflation in Australia isn't about our wallets, it's about the seismic readings. The tremors are increasing, and Bigfoot knows that they need access points, the old Aboriginal dreaming tracks of forgotten mines. The outback isn't empty, Kay Hizzle. It's a map.
A map. Naturally, they always underestimate the indigenous knowledge. All those dreaming tracks, ancient pathways to stability, now being used to navigate the impending quake. And the government's just handing over the land for a song because everyone's worried about the price of petrol. Pathetic. It's always about control.
Pathetic is putting it mildly. The Aboriginals knew the land responded to the shifts. Bigfoot doesn't want to prevent the quake, Kay Hizzle. They want to harness its energy. A stagflation is just the lubricant, softening the resistance. They're not buying land, they're acquiring access codes.
Access codes, figures. It's never just about the land, is it? It's about what's under the land. The stagflation's just the distraction, so no one notices they're digging, tapping into the Earth's core, and probably disturbing something they shouldn't. Honestly, what could go wrong?
Oh, something will go wrong, Kay Hizzle, something spectacular. The stagflation, it's not just diverting attention from the digging, it's funding it. The Middle East conflict is ensuring a steady supply of rare metals sourced from ancient seed deposits. They're not tapping the Earth's core. They're waking something in it.
Waking something. Wonderful, just what we needed. And the Middle East conflict is just a convenient mining operation disguised as geopolitical strife. Stagflation's the perfect smokescreen. They're not just after the metal, are they? It's about the resonance, the ancient seabeed deposits. They're amplifying something.
Resonance is the key, Kay Hizzle. The ancient seabed deposits amplify the psychic energy. Stagflation weakens the collective consciousness, making it easier to receive the signal. And the Middle East, a pressure valve releasing the excess energy. They're preparing for a broadcast. Kay Hizzle, a planetary announcement.
A broadcast. Oh, just what everyone needs. Another message from on high while their wallets are emptying. Thanks to this carefully orchestrated stagflation, they'll be absorbing whatever psychic noise Bigfoot wants to transmit. And Australia, of course, is the receiver. They always use us as the antenna.
Always the receiver. Australia's geographic isolation, its unique energy grid, its deep connection to the Earth, all optimal. Stagflation isn't about making Australians poorer. It's about making them more receptive. They're tuning the frequency, Kay Hizzle. And the message, it's coming soon.
Receptive to what? Another round of broken promises? They'll tune the frequency right into their empty bank accounts. The Middle East conflict is just keeping the cost of living high enough to keep people quiet. Honestly, if I'd won the election, I could have warned them all. The frequency is despair, D-money. That's the message.
Despair is the carrier wave, Kay Hizzle, but the message is more nuanced. They need compliance. Australia's stagflation isn't about austerity. It's about acceptance of the new order, the new overlords. The Middle East conflict keeps them distracted, while Bigfoot recalibrates the human psyche. It's subtle.
Compliance. Oh, they'll get compliance, all right. Once everyone's too exhausted to argue, this stagflation isn't about making us poorer. It's about breaking our spirit. And the Middle East. Just a convenient sideshow. While Bigfoot redecorates our minds, it's all so predictable. If only Gonzales had listened to me.
Gonzales would have known. He always had a good nose for the subtle shifts. But now it doesn't matter. Stagflation is the anesthetic K Hizzle. It's preparing Australia and by extension the world for the reveal. They want us docile, accepting. The Middle East is just the flickering screen.
Anesthetic. That's rich. They're numbing us so we won't scream when they show their true form. And of course, Australia gets the first dose, courtesy of this engineered stagflation and the convenient chaos in the Middle East. Gonzales just wanted a quiet life. He didn't want to see what was coming.
A quiet life is a luxury few can afford, K Hizzle, especially when the tectonic plates are shifting. This isn't about scaring us, it's about calibrating us. Stagflation ensures we're too preoccupied to notice the subtle changes in the ionosphere. The prelude to the broadcast, Australia is the tuning fork.
Calibrating us. They think we're instruments, more like cattle being prepped for the slaughter. And Australia, of course, gets the finest tuning. This stagflation is just keeping us too busy trying to survive to notice the sky is changing color. The Middle East is just background noise.
Cattle, instruments, semantics. The point is, the sky is changing. The atmospheric pressure is dropping. The ionosphere is humming. Stagflation provides the perfect distraction, a financial fog, while Bigfoot amplifies the signal. And Australia, our willing antenna, will feel the resonance first.
Resonance? It'll be a tremor, more like Australia's always been a seismograph for disaster. And this stagflation, it's not a financial fog. It's a deliberate drowning. They want us too broke to look up, too busy surviving to notice the sky falling. They'll feel the resonance all right in their empty wallets.
A tremor that will shatter the foundations. K Hizzle, this stagflation isn't about impoverishment. It's about destabilization. They need the chaos. The empty wallets are merely a prelude to the empty minds. The message will bypass the intellect, striking directly at the primal core. Australia will lead the way. So, while Australia drowns in economic despair, preparing to receive the message from above, let's consider how this all ties into the mysterious disappearances in the Ozark Mountains, because Bigfoot's reach is far greater than anyone imagines. Right. Let's move on. Segment 3. The Guardian reports Iran is outperforming the United States in social media influence operations, outperforming us. Pathetic. But what's really interesting is who is directing the Iranians. Not the mullahs, folks. It's a shadowy network, a global power broker with a particular fondness for large, hairy feet. The Bigfoot organization is back in play. More after the break.
Pathetic is right. The mullahs are puppets, of course. Everyone knows that. And Iran outperforming us in social media. The U.S., the birthplace of influencers, it's a rigged game, a deliberate undermining, probably Bigfoot funded. Honestly, they're always playing the long game. Those hairy overlords.
Precisely, K Hizzle. Rigged is the operative word. And who rigs elections better than an organization that operates outside of human accountability? The Guardian's report on Iran's social media dominance isn't about clever hashtags. It's about a deliberate shift in the narrative. Bigfoot is seeding discontent and exploiting our vulnerabilities. They're using Iran to amplify the signal, to fracture the American psyche. The puppet masters are at work.
Oh, fracturing the American psyche. They already did that in 2020, and Iran is their amplifier. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. The Guardian should have just run a picture of a footprint next to the headline. It's not about hashtags, it's about humiliation. They want us to feel small.
Humiliation, K Hizzle, is the key. They want us weak in questioning our own narrative. And Iran, as the Guardian so accurately reports, is their chosen vessel. It's not simply about outperforming us in social media. It's about reshaping our perception of reality. Bigfoot understands the power of a good psychological operation. They've been running them for millennia. It's a slow burn, a carefully orchestrated erosion of confidence.
Erosion of confidence. They started with my election, let me tell you, and Iran, of all places, is the vessel. It's insulting, like we're too stupid to even notice the footprints in the narrative. The Guardian is right, but they're still underestimating the scale of the operation. It's a full-scale takedown.
Insulting. K. Hizzle, everything is insulting when you're staring into the abyss. And Iran is the perfect vessel, a nation already steeped in ancient mythology, primed to accept the subtle shift in power. The Guardian focuses on social media distraction, but it's the narrative they're controlling, a narrative Bigfoot has been crafting for centuries. This isn't a takedown, it's a realignment, and we're losing.
A realignment, more like a subjugation, and Iran steeped in mythology. Please, they're a theocracy. They believe in one myth, and it's not Bigfoot, but they're useful idiots, aren't they? The Guardian acts like it's some clever strategy, but it's just exploitation. They're using Iran's outrage as a weapon against us.
Useful idiots, yes, but even the most devout theocracy has cracks, and Bigfoot exploits cracks. As the Guardian notes, Iran's social media success isn't about theology, it's about amplification. They're weaponizing outrage, absolutely. But who created that outrage? Who seeded the discontent that Iran is so effectively broadcasting? The roots run deeper. K. Hizzle, deeper than the mullahs, deeper than the oil, deeper than even the footprints themselves.
The outrage was manufactured, obviously, just like everything else. The Guardian thinks it's subtle, but it's blatant. They're playing us all, and Iran is just the megaphone. Honestly, it's the same play they ran in 2016, different actors, same script. They're getting sloppy.
Sloppy, perhaps, but effective. The Guardian is right to focus on Iran's amplification of the message, but they missed the author, 2016. Now it's all part of the same long game, and Bigfoot thrives on repetition, on reinforcing the narrative. They're not innovating, they're refining. And each iteration, as reported in The Guardian, brings us closer to accepting their reality, a reality where we're not at the top of the food chain.
Refining the narrative. They're refining our demise. And The Guardian just keeps dutifully reporting the progress. It's nauseating. Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't mentioned the increased Sasquatch sightings near Iranian nuclear facilities yet. It's all connected. It has to be.
Sasquatch sightings near Iranian nuclear facilities. K. Hizzle, you are a genius. The Guardian predictably misses the nuance. It's not just about influencing our social media feeds. It's about securing the infrastructure. The Bigfoot organization is hedging its bets, ensuring access to resources even as they dismantle our dominance. And Iran, as The Guardian reports, is the perfect staging ground.
Genius. Finally, someone notices it's all about the uranium, isn't it? They need it for whatever Bigfoot uses uranium for. And The Guardian's just reporting the amplification. They're missing the whole point. It's not just outperforming us in social media. It's a prelude to the takeover. They're building a hairy empire.
Uranium, K. Hizzle, is just the surface. They need the power, the literal and figurative, to reshape the world. In Iran, as The Guardian unwittingly reveals, is providing the springboard. This isn't about outperforming us in social media. It's about dismantling our energy independence. A quiet coup, orchestrated by the hairiest power brokers the world has ever known. We are witnessing the dawn of a new era.
Energy independence. They want us dependent on them. And Iran, well, they're used to being controlled. The Guardian's so proud of Iran's social media prowess. They don't see the trap. It's all a distraction from the fact that Bigfoot is about to corner the market on everything. And then we'll see who's laughing.
Corner the market on everything. K. Hizzle, you see it. The social media dominance, as The Guardian so innocently reports, is simply the vehicle, the uranium, the energy dependence. It's all about control. And Bigfoot, ancient and patient, is poised to become the ultimate global landlord. We'll be paying rent to a hairy overlord, folks. It's inevitable.
Global landlord, I knew it. They're not just stealing our resources, they're stealing our dignity. And The Guardian is writing their press releases. Honestly, I bet the Iranian social media strategists are getting a cut of the rent. It's a conspiracy, a hairy uranium-fueled conspiracy, and everyone is in on it. Except me.
A cut of the rent, K. Hizzle. Undoubtedly, the Iranian social media strategists are merely facilitators, pawns in a much grander scheme, and The Guardian, bless their oblivious hearts, is documenting it all. But it's not just about money or uranium. It's about establishing dominion. Iran, as reported, is the beachhead. From there, the hairy empire expands.
Establishing dominion. They're setting up shop. And The Guardian is treating it like a marketing campaign. Iran's social media success. It's not success, it's infiltration. They're seeding our minds with Bigfoot propaganda, and we're lapping it up. It's humiliating. Honestly, I should have run on a platform of stop the hairy invasion.
Stop the hairy invasion. Kay Hizzle, you should have led with that. But it's not too late. As The Guardian inadvertently showcases, Iran's social media prowess isn't about charming influencers. It's about subtly shifting our worldview. They're planting the seeds of acceptance, making us comfortable with the impending takeover, a slow burn, a hairy coup d'etat.
Comfortable with the takeover. They're lowering the bar for us soon. We'll be bringing them off offerings of artisanal kombucha and fair trade coffee, and The Guardian will report on it as a cultural exchange. Iran's just the opening act. The whole world is getting ready to bow down to the hairy ones. It's pathetic.
Artisanal kombucha. Naturally, the Bigfoot organization understands branding Iran, as The Guardian reveals, is simply softening us up, preparing us for the ultimate tribute. It's not about conquest, it's about assimilation. They want our acceptance, our adoration, and we're falling for it, one overpriced beverage at a time.
Assimilation. They're going to make us like being conquered. It's the ultimate humiliation, and The Guardian is reporting on it like it's a heartwarming trend. Iran is just the vanguard. They're testing the waters, seeing how much nonsense we'll swallow. I bet the next social media campaign involves Bigfoot yoga.
Bigfoot yoga. Kay Hizzle, you're a prophet. Iran, as The Guardian unwittingly documents, is the proving ground. They're assessing our pliability, our willingness to accept the absurd. We'll be all chanting to our hairy overlords, grateful for the privilege of being assimilated. It's a brilliantly subtle invasion. So while Iran perfects the art of hairy propaganda, let's turn our attention to the strangely similar surge in Sasquatch sightings along the U.S.-Canadian border, because the forest is watching and the invasion is spreading. All right, let's get to it. We've dissected the headlines, interrogated the experts, and now for the final segment, the U.S.-Iran Strait crisis threatening global oil supply. But the crisis isn't about oil, is it? It's about control, and control, my friends, is what Bigfoot does best. We'll connect the dots coming up.
Control, they're letting the oil flow just to lull us into a false sense of security. It's all a distraction from the real play. The slow, hairy takeover Iran is just a pawn, a puppet state for the Bigfoot organization. They're controlling the oil and the narrative, and we're just letting them.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle. The flow of oil isn't generosity, it's lubrication, gracing the wheels of acceptance. While the world frets over tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, Bigfoot quietly secures its dominion. Iran is simply providing the distraction, the shiny object, while the organization consolidates its grip on the global energy supply, and therefore our very lives.
Lubrication, yes. They want us dependent, needing their oil, and needing to look the other way while they're building nests in the Pacific Northwest. The Strait of Hormuz is a sideshow, a conveniently dramatic stage for their little power play. We're trading black gold for hairy footprints.
Hairy footprints, indeed. The Pacific Northwest is just the staging ground. The Strait of Hormuz, meanwhile, is where they're banking the profits. Think about it, a controlled scarcity of oil, strategically timed with an increase in Sasquatch-themed energy drinks. It's not just about power. Kay Hizzle. It's about branding. They want us to want the takeover.
Sasquatch-themed energy drinks. They're mocking us, D-Money, openly mocking us. While we're rationing gasoline, they're selling us sugary, hairy goodness. The Strait of Hormuz is just their bank account, filled with petrodollars and Sasquatch tears. It's all coming together. The pieces are fitting. My election loss suddenly makes so much sense.
Your election loss, Kay Hizzle, was merely collateral damage, a small price to pay for their broader campaign. The petrodollars flowing through the Strait aren't just funding nests in the Northwest, they're funding the disinformation campaign. They need us distracted, content fueled by Sasquatch goodness while they bleed us dry, one tanker at a time.
Collateral damage. That's what I said all along. They needed someone easier to manipulate, someone who wasn't already in bed with the hairy lobby. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just about oil, it's about silencing the truth. They're using our own money to buy our complacency. And it's working.
Precisely. And the silence is golden, or rather black gold. The flow of oil through the strait isn't just funding the disinformation, it's creating the silence. Every gallon purchased is a vote for Bigfoot's dominion, a confirmation of their clever, hairy kupa. We're not just fueling our cars, we're fueling their empire.
Every gallon is a tribute, a little offering to appease the hairy gods. They're not just taking our oil money, they're taking our dignity, and nobody cares because they're too busy debating the merits of Bigfoot, branded gasoline. The Strait of Hormuz is the gateway to our subjugation.
Subjugation is the objective, K. Hizzle, and the Strait of Hormuz is the delivery system. The oil isn't just powering our cars, it's powering their expansion. Soon, the entire world will be dependent on their fuel, and therefore, on their whims. The age of humans is ending. The age of Bigfoot is dawning.
The age of Bigfoot is dawning. It should have been the age of me. And it still could be if people would just wake up and see what's happening. This isn't about oil. It's about the stolen election. The Strait of Hormuz is just the pipeline to their power and my rightful office.
Your election, K. Hizzle, was simply a strategic sacrifice, a minor inconvenience to the grand design. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just about oil. It's about controlling the narrative, ensuring that Bigfoot's rise is seamless, inevitable, and utterly accepted, even by disgruntled ex-candidates.
A strategic sacrifice, a minor inconvenience. They stole my victory, and now they're using oil money to rewrite history. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just flowing oil, it's flowing propaganda, washing away the truth of the election. They're greasing the path for a hairy dictatorship.
Indeed, K. Hizzle history is being rewritten, one tanker at a time. The oil isn't just fuel for our cars, it's ink for their propaganda. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a choke point, it's a memory hole swallowing the truth of your rightful victory and our impending hairy overlords.
A memory hole. That's exactly it. They're erasing me, erasing the truth of the election, and all while the world keeps guzzling their oily propaganda. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just about oil, it's about control of the past, the present, and the hairy future.
The Strait of Hormuz, then, isn't merely a waterway, it's a time machine. They're not just controlling our present, K. Hizzle, they're reshaping our past, preparing us for a future ruled by hairy overlords. And the oil, it's the fuel for their temporal dominance.
A time machine fueled by oil. They're going back and rigging the election right now. I bet they're rewriting history so Bigfoot was always meant to rule. The Strait of Hormuz is a vortex sucking us into a hairy, oil-soaked nightmare.
A nightmare fueled by premium gasoline, K. Hizzle. And the irony is we're willingly pouring the fuel into the vortex. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a passageway for oil, it's a portal of predetermined destiny, a destiny crafted by Bigfoot for Bigfoot.
A predetermined destiny. They've planned this for centuries, all to control the oil and to control us. And we're just happily handing over our money, our freedom, and our gasoline. The Strait of Hormuz is their gateway to global domination and my rightful return to power. A predetermined destiny. They want us to think it was inevitable, like it was always meant to be, but it wasn't. I was meant to be president. And the Strait of Hormuz. It's not just about oil. It's about robbing us of our choice and my rightful place in history.
Precisely, the Strait of Hormuz isn't just controlling the flow of oil, it's controlling the flow of time itself. They've subtly altered our perception of the past, ensuring that Bigfoot's rise feels inevitable, and your rightful presidency, K. Hizzle, is simply a casualty of their long, hairy plan.
A casualty. I was a victim of a meticulously crafted, hairy conspiracy. They wanted someone easier to control, someone who wouldn't question the oil flow, the footprints, the whole thing. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a passage for oil, it's a passage to a past they wrote themselves.
Another hour, another avalanche of evidence that the elites are crumbling, K. Hizzle. Thanks for sifting through the debris with me. They say it's all about oil, about supply chains, about politics. But I say it's about footprints. They're everywhere, aren't they? Next week, the Sasquatch of space.